Hey guys, it's Hayley. So I know I haven't done any videos. In every video I do, I'm like, so there's gonna be lots more content on here, so you need to subscribe, and then I don't do any videos. So since it's lockdown, I thought I would do a kind of get ready with me story time video, if you guys are into it. So yeah, I'm gonna do my makeup and tell you about the time that I got scammed. Honestly, like, I've been wanting to do this video for ages, but the more I think about it, the more like cringe I am that I was that gullible. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is the time that I got scammed. Here we go. A few years ago, basically I'd just started doing makeup. Well, no, I hadn't just started doing makeup. I'd been doing makeup for quite a while, but I'd always had other jobs. So, you know, it'd always been kind of like, you know, I'd be doing hostessing and other jobs. So I wasn't completely relying on my makeup income, but at the time there was a lack of like other hostessing jobs. So I was kind of completely relying on my makeup income, and I was slowly trying to build up my client base, and obviously that takes a really long time. A really long time. So I was very broke at this time, and yeah, I was just looking for clients, and I was kind of taking like every job I got. Like now I'm a lot more selective because I have a nice client base, so I don't have to like worry about, you know, taking every little job and like living paycheck to paycheck, which is lovely. But at the time I was super broke. And also at the time my dog needed a scan, and it was very expensive, this scan. She's fine now, don't worry guys. But at the time I was just very anxious. I'm fully aware this isn't my colour, by the way. This is my summer colour. This is my wishful summer colour. I'm never this warm, but I'm gonna do my concealer and stuff, and it's gonna make sense. It's gonna look a lot better. Sorry, anyway. Continue. Yeah, so I'd put an ad online to look for more clients. So this ad, it was like looking for, you know, wedding clients, maybe people that wanted their makeup done for an event, something like that, you know. So I'd hopefully get like some individual people booking in. That's what the hope was. So I put that little ad up, and I did get like a few people biting. I got like a few people you know, getting me to do the makeup for their prom and stuff like that. So that was okay, you know, it was helping. And then I got a message. What should we call this person I got the message from? I obviously don't want to give her real name because I don't want to get, you know, in a legal dispute. So I'm just gonna call her May. Okay, May? Yeah, so her name is May. May reaches out to me, and she says, hey, I really like your makeup work, it's super cool. I'm looking for someone to do some wedding makeup. And she kind of explained in her email message that she owned like a wedding company. Well, I guess like a makeup company, but she wasn't a makeup artist herself. Like what she wanted was to hire freelancers to go and do wedding makeup. Sort of, you know, she'd get the clients, she'd do all the advertising, so she'd take a cut of the money, and then, you know, I'd go and do the client, I'd do the trial, and I'd do the makeup for them on the wedding day. So for those of you that don't know, like, I gotta bring this down the neck because it's winter and we are not this warm. So for those of you who don't know, like, wedding makeup is normally very expensive because, you know, it's quite a stressful day. You also would spend a lot more time on a bride than you would like a normal makeup. And also there's a trial involved. So a trial, it normally takes like up to 4 hours if you're doing hair and makeup, because you're going to try like lots of different styles just to make sure like you're super happy with what you want. And just so, you know, the bride knows exactly what they're getting on the day, and they can see how long the makeup lasts, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, normally wedding makeup and hair is very, very well paid. And the hairstylist too, by the way. So I'll be doing both myself. Yeah, so I was like really excited when she messaged me, and I was thinking, cha-ching, I'm gonna make some money, yay. And so I set up like a phone call with her, and she was very nice. But I really regret this because I kept asking her things like, oh, so, you know, how much normally would the average, you know, client be? You know, obviously I would understand that she would get the client, do all the advertising, so she would take a cut, right? So that makes sense. So I know that I wouldn't get my full rate that I would normally get, but I thought that, you know, I'm still gonna be making a decent amount and it's still better than no work, so cool. And I'm doing what I love doing, what I'm trained to do, so I was real happy to be doing it. But anyway, on the phone, she was very, you know, I was talking to her and it wasn't that she was like openly avoiding the question, but she was almost being like super friendly with me on the phone. Like she'd start talking and I'd be trying to keep it, you know, quite professional and be like, oh, okay, so, you know, tell me more about your business and, you know, what would you be expecting me to do? And, you know, like just general questions. And she was basically just like telling me all about her personal life, like being very chatty, very sweet, but she'd kind of go off on a tangent. So if I'd ask her something like, oh, what's the general amount I could expect to get paid? She'd end up on this tangent about like her ex-boyfriend and him mistreating her and all that kind of stuff. So it's like when we were on the phone, like now looking back, I can tell she's just avoiding important details. But at the time I thought, oh, this girl's super friendly and nice. And, you know, I trust other women really easily. Okay. So I was just kind of like very trusting to her almost instantly because she was nice. May was nice. She was very chatty, very sweet. But anyway, and she said, listen, I'm super busy and I'm going to get you some clients. And she was like, you know, she basically made it sound like, you know, each job would be paid kind of a different rate because, you know, some clients would be more high profile, so there'd be a bigger budget involved, so I'd get more money, you know, and some of them would be someone who's, you know, on a bit of a budget. So, but I was happy with that, you know. It would have been nice to get like a ballpark figure, like an idea, because I know what I charge for a wedding and I know how stressful weddings can be. But at the time, I was literally like, I need money, I need a job, so sign me up, May, okay? So it wasn't long before May got in touch and said that she had a job for me, okay? So this job was a trial, because all wedding bookings normally start with a trial, unless someone is like really pushed for time and they didn't plan very well. So yeah, it was a trial, but it was for 2 people. So it was for the bride and the maid of honor. She gave me all the details, told me where it would be. But what she didn't do was she didn't say exactly how much the pay would be. And she kind of like, because it was such a last minute booking, she kind of got away with it because I was like, hey, you know, how much would it be? And she kind of like, she answered me but didn't answer me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna need at least like a deposit, because that's how I work. Like I normally don't do a job unless I've gotten a deposit for something. And she sort of said to me, oh, well, you know, it's kind of like a trial for you as well, because I've never worked with you before. Obviously I've seen your work, but you know, I don't know exactly what it's going to be like. So if you can go along, do the job, and then I'll send you a deposit after the job. Okay. And at the time, the way she spoke to me on the phone, she was very friendly and it didn't sound unreasonable, you know, and I had nothing else to do. I had no other work. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, this is 2 people. So obviously in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be, you know, it's going to be a good paid job. I'm just going to go and do it. And the client lived, I think they lived somewhere really nice, like Chelsea. So I was like, cool, you know, they've probably got some good budget, you know, it's quite an expensive area of London they live in. So I'm sure they've got a decent amount of budget. So I went, I did the job. It was very long because the trial was for 2 people. So I had to do multiple makeup applications and hairstyles for like the bride and the maid of honor. They're both like super sweet though. And it was really, really nice. So yeah, it was fine. It just took a really long time. It was a lot of my time I used up doing that job. So then after that, you know, I went back to May, and I kind of asked her, I sent her an email this time because I wanted to kind of pin her down a bit and I wanted to get like something in writing, because she kept like going back and forth, being kind of evasive. And I said to her, hey, cool, I'm gonna kind of need a deposit, now, because I finished the job. She was super happy. I don't know if she's definitely going to book me for her wedding, because obviously it's up to her, but, I've done the job, so I'd expect a deposit, right? And she was like, yeah, sure, I'll send you something. And I was like, do you need a invoice? And she was like, no, I don't need an invoice, don't worry, just send me your bank details. So that was a little bit of a red flag for me, because I'm thinking, like, even as a freelance person, I suppose, I don't have a limited company, so I'd at least send people an invoice though, so I can keep track of it for my taxes, stuff like that, And if she's got a company, surely she needs me to send her an invoice, right? But I've seen her website. I kind of trust her at this point. We've been chatting. She's been talking to me like I'm a friend almost. So I'm like, okay, here's my bank details, okay? Don't worry, she didn't try and steal my money. But she said she's going to send me a deposit for this job. And I'd kind of said to her, like, hey, I'm running low on money, because we were talking kind of like friends at this point, and I was saying, hey, I'm kind of running low on money. It maybe been a week since that job and she hadn't sent me the deposit. So I was like, listen, if you could send me something, that'd be great. And she was like, oh, okay, the client hasn't paid me yet, but I can send you something, she said. Okay, something. So she sent me £50. 1 second, let me just work out how this concealer works. I've never used this one before. Does it come down this way? How does this work? Do I click it? Do I turn it around? Oh, sorry. On with what we were saying. Where was I? I can't remember. Am I okay? Okay, so at this point I'd received £50. Okay, so £50 to me was a little bit worrying, because normally for me a deposit is 50% of what you're owed. Well, it is to me when I do jobs anyway. But I'm a freelancer, like, everyone does things differently. And from what she'd kind of said to me, she was like, oh, the client hasn't paid me yet, so I'm kind of paying you almost as a goodwill gesture. I'm just giving you an amount. So she wasn't saying that this was the full deposit. She was just saying, I'm going to give you this amount, okay? And she was very clever, because after I'd emailed her, she didn't actually email me back, I don't think. I think she got back to me via phone call. She always had everything on the phone, which is another red flag, because there's no paper trail. Well, or very little paper trail anyway. Nothing with facts and figures other than, addresses and where I need to be. So it's a little bit shady. The more I think about it, the more gullible. I know you're all like, oh my God, you're such an idiot at this point, Hayley. But at the time, I was desperate, I was broke, and I was just excited to be working. So hear me out. So anyway, she sends me 50 quid, which I thought was weird, but I was also kind of like, okay, well, she's just paying me kind of a retainer type thing until she gets paid as a goodwill gesture. Anyway, so then she messages me again, and she's like, Hayley, I've got another job. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Okay. And this job now, it's one of her friend's weddings. So it's a friend of hers. So I'm thinking, okay, cool. If it's a friend of hers, then, I'm sure she's good to like pay her. She's going to pay her quickly, so I'm down to do this job. And also she said that she'd be coming as well. So I'd get to meet May. So me and May went to go do this job. And when I met May in person, like, she seemed nice. She was chatty, same as she was on the phone. And, I went and did this job for her friend. Her friend was very nice and sweet. She just wanted hair done, so, it wasn't as long. We were just there for a couple hours. I did a nice bridal bun for her. And then that was it. And we left, okay? So that was fine. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, so now May owes me, most of the money for that first job I did, and that was 2 people. And now she owes me for the hair trial for her friend as well. And I'm thinking, all right, since that's her friend should pay her soon. So at this point, not a great deal of time has passed since the first job. Like, it's probably only been like a week or two. So, you know, a lot of companies, they take like a month to pay, maybe 30 days. So I wasn't worried at this point, but I was maybe getting a little bit frustrated because as a freelancer, one of the perks of being a freelancer is that you get paid quicker. So I'm thinking, when's she gonna pay me, you know? And we were on good terms. I thought she'd be, you know, upfront and trustworthy about it. So I just sort of let the time pass a little bit and just kept kind of reminding her. And I was like, oh, so when do you think you're going to pay me? And she's like, oh, soon, really soon. And whenever I asked her what the amount was, it was like a ballpark figure, not a correct amount. Or she'd get away without telling me the exact amount, which is kind of annoying. But then she'd be like, oh, Hayley, I'm going to pay you next week. So that got me really excited and I was really happy about it. And I was like, okay, so I'd kind of like forgotten that it'd taken so long. I was kind of like, you know, still trusting her a bit and like forgiving. I know this is really dumb. Anyway, there was another job that came in, okay? And this job was for a very, very last minute trial, okay? Super duper last minute. And it was quite far away. I had to travel to, was it Hayes? Yeah, it was long to get to this woman's house, okay? Make sure I don't put on too much of this blush. Yeah, it was a long journey to get to her house. I'd gotten there and I think it was something like, I had to spend like around £20 in travel just to get there. So that was kind of annoying to me because obviously girl was broke at the time. And then I got there and we were doing the trial in the evening because the woman finished work kind of late and it was like in the winter time, I think. So it was getting dark a bit earlier. So I'd got into this girl's house to do her trial. We're losing light quickly. So I'm like, okay, right, we need to get this done. She wanted hair and makeup for the trial, but bless her, she was a really picky person. And you know, that's not unusual for brides at a trial. Like, if anything, even the most laid back person can be super picky on their bridal trial. Like, people think they know what they want and they don't know what they want. They don't know what looks good on them. Some people, like, you know, they barely ever wear makeup and they're expecting you to make them flawless. They're expecting you to turn them into Kylie Jenner for some reason. In fact, when I showed up, this girl actually showed me a picture of Kylie Jenner and was like, can you do this? And I'm like, so I've done her makeup. It's really nice. We got to a point where she was happy with the makeup, but then I had to move on to her hair. Guys, this woman's hair was nearly down to her butt. I'm not even joking. It was nearly down to her ass. It was really, really long, super, super thick, but also very like dry. Like, she hadn't taken very good care of her hair. So that just means that you have to spend lots more time styling it to make it shiny and look how she wants it to look. And also, she had loads of like these little individual extensions in there, and the extensions were kind of old and a bit knackered, to be honest. So like they'd like not really react to heat well. They were kind of like grown down to here, so like there's that much hair. So you got to be very careful when you're styling the hair, and you need to hide them well. And she had layers and layers and layers of these extensions that she didn't need because her hair was down to her ass anyway, her natural hair. So anyway, I styled her hair, and this one was probably to date, is she the most picky bride I've ever had? She's up there. I think she might be. Like, this woman might be the most picky bride I've ever had in my life. She basically showed me this video of how she wanted her hair, right? And this video, guys, I like to think I'm good at hairstyling, okay? I really enjoy doing updos. I love doing all of that. But what this person showed me, this Instagram account of this guy is like a hair mogul. He is like creating hair origami. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, she showed me this video and it's this stunning model with really long hair, a bit shorter than hers, but really long hair, but it's in, you know, it's a different density to her hair, so it's easier to put up in this big updo she wanted. And And oh my God. So anyway, shows me this video and it's like this ridiculous fishtail, amazing, crazy hair, right? It's like volume here and then amazing fishtail braid goes down to here, and it's like sculpted. They've clearly put like wire inside the hair so it sits like perfectly, and they're doing all these angles on Instagram and they've made it look flawless, stunning. In the video it looks like it takes 5 minutes to do. In reality that probably took about 3 hours to do this woman's hair, and I'm stuck with this person who is really picky, doesn't really know what they want, and they've chosen hair origami for me. So I did the best I could in the time that we had. But you know, I tried to like manage her expectations. I was like, hey girl, like I'm gonna try and do my best, but this ain't realistic. Okay? Yeah, so I did her hair, and you know, I think she was, even though I'd managed her expectations, like that we can't do that to her hair because her hair is too heavy and I don't have, you know, the wire, all these things to pad her hair out to make it look how this model's hair looks, okay? So I told her I can do a more kind of natural looking version, like more of a boho, nice kind of version. And I did it for her, and to be honest, I thought she was a bit underwhelmed. And she was a little rude. Okay, she was very rude, okay? Very, very rude. And I traveled all that way and I was a little bit pissed, to be honest, when I left. And I was kind of thinking, oh my God, I really hope this woman doesn't pick me for her wedding. Sometimes that happens when you do a trial. Like, people are so picky, so demanding that you're just like, I don't want this person to pick me, okay? So anyway, I then get a message from May, and I told her, she's like, how was the trial? And I was like, listen, to be honest, this woman was very, very picky. She had quite unrealistic expectations. What she wants is going to take a lot longer than we're probably going to have on the day. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't choose me, you know, sorry, basically, even though it's not my fault. I say sorry a lot when things aren't my fault. Anyway, so then May was like, don't worry, you know, weddings, people are like this sometimes, like chill, don't worry. And kind of just made me feel a bit more at ease and chill about it. So like, okay, cool. And then I got a message from May the next day, and they were like, oh, she's booked you for her wedding. I was so pissed off. To be honest, I didn't want to do it. It was too much like hassle. It was expensive getting there. The wedding was in another location. So for the wedding, she'd be getting ready at home. Then she'd go to another location to do the proper wedding. And then after that, she wanted a hair change. I know. She wanted a hair change. So that's going to add on more time. And I'm going to have to wait around in between the morning of getting her ready and the ceremony, and then travel to this other location. It's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to be a stressful day. You feel me? And I was going to have to get there extra early because this woman was so picky. And what she wanted was so, like, ridiculous, you know? So I kind of turned around to May, and I was like, listen, May, the woman's wedding was very, very soon. I said to her, like, listen, I don't want to let her down, because obviously the wedding is only a few days away. At this point, she'd literally booked her trial for the Monday, and she's getting married on, like, the Saturday or something. It was stupid. No one ever does this. This isn't usual. So, you know, I said to her, I was like, May, listen, to be honest, she's very, very picky, and what she wants is very, very difficult. We're gonna need a lot of time to do it, and this is gonna be too expensive for me, too much traveling, too much hassle. And I said to her, listen, I'm gonna need you to pay me for an Uber up front. I'm gonna need all of my travel expenses up front, and I'm gonna need a deposit, or I'm not gonna do it, I said to her. Okay, that's what I said. And I felt kind of bad because, you know, with weddings, you know, once you've had your trial, you want to stick to that person. And it's not my fault that she'd done everything so last minute. But, you know, it wasn't May's fault necessarily. And I was just like, well, I don't want to let this woman down either. So I was like, okay, cool, I will do it. I'll bite the bullet and do it. But you have to pay me some expenses up front. And May was like, oh, I'll do you one better. She's like, I'm gonna come with you. She's like, I will come with you in the morning, because obviously this woman is very difficult, and she's like, and I'll be your assistant kind of thing. She's not really a makeup artist or a hairdresser or anything, but she's like, you know, I'll hold your pins, I'll help you. You know, if the woman's being rude to you, I'll, you know, try and calm her down and keep things chill. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's awesome. So when she said that, that completely calmed me down. And I was like, great. And she's like, I'm gonna stay with you all day. I'll pay for the Ubers to the other location. I'll pay for your train ticket. You know, and then I'll make sure you're paid within a week or two. So I was like, okay, cool. You know what? I don't have any work. I've already done the trial for this woman, and it was a big pain in the ass. So I wanted to be paid for it. And I couldn't let this woman down because her wedding was literally in a couple days. So I was like, cool, I'll just have to deal with her, you know? This is what weddings are like sometimes. So, okay, so the day before the wedding, I spoke to May, and she assured me that she was going to meet me at a station at a certain time, so me and her could catch a certain train to get to this picky woman's house. But she was going to pay for the travel, she was going to pay for everything. So I was like, cool, I felt good. The next day, May's going to come, all's going to be cool, right? Right? Oh no. No. May didn't show up, did she? I was on my way, I was on a bus on the way to the station that I was going to meet her at, and I get a message from her, and she's like, oh, Hayley, I feel really sick. Oh, I just feel so ill. and she was like, oh, she was like, I'm really ill. And she kind of said to me that she had like an ongoing condition. So I didn't want to be a biatch about it. I didn't want to be rude, because it's like, if someone's sick, they're sick. But I just knew that something fishy was going on, and I knew that she was lying, okay? I just knew it. You know when you know? This sounds a bit like an episode of Catfish where they're like, oh, I'm sick. I can't like come and meet you, babe. I can't do it. Like, May is the catfish. Okay, she was like, I'm sick, I can't come. She even sent me like a picture of the floor in the station, which I thought was really weird. It's like, she's so sick that she's like, oh, I can take a picture of the floor. What? It was just weird. I was like, why are you sending me a picture of the floor? But she's like, I'm so sick, I've just thrown up on the platform, I've got to go to the hospital now. I mean, to me that sounded more like a hangover if you're just like throwing up. I don't know. Anyway, I was like, I answered very diplomatically, but I was also like, where's my money? I was like, I'm so sorry you're not feeling good, May, you know, look after yourself, get yourself taken care of. But also, I don't really have the funds to get to this girl's house, you know, because that's why you were coming to meet me. You were going to pay for the Uber. You were going to pay for all these things up front, because I don't have the money in my account. Okay, so I kind of did. I had like a small amount of money in my account, but I didn't really want to spend it on all of this. It was gonna probably cost me, by the time I bought myself lunch, it'd probably be like 50 quid I'd have to spend on buying this expensive ticket to this woman's house in the morning, so I need a return. Then I have to get all the way to this other area. Then I have to wait around for hours, so I'm gonna have to eat something. And then I'm gonna need to get an Uber to this other hotel where I'm doing her hair. Then I'm gonna have to get the Uber back, and it's just going to be a lot. It's going to be probably more than £50 I think I spent on that day. It was very, very annoying. And she's like, she'd kind of, had she gotten back to me? I think after a certain point she stopped responding, even though the message I'd sent to her, I was very like sympathetic, but I was also like, also though it's kind of an emergency, I need you to send me the money for that Uber and for the ticket. May disappeared. And I was on the bus and I was so angry. And I called my girlfriend, and she was like, Hayley, just go home. Just go home. She's like, I knew this was going to happen. I've been telling you about this girl. Just go home. You know, like, screw it. If she hasn't sorted it out, you know, it's not your problem. But then I was like, listen, this client, it's her wedding day. She might be horrible and difficult to deal with, but it's her wedding day, okay? I can't do that to her. And also, this client had my Instagram because they tagged me in something, or they sent me a DM, I can't remember, to say thank you. I think they had. That sounds quite sweet. But she was scary, this lady. So I was like, well, there's no way I can not show up, because it's not going to be good. She could slander me on the internet. She could get angry. She could start sending me horrible messages. She could start sharing stories or whatever, saying that I didn't show up on her wedding day. And also personally, just me as a person, like, I would never want that to happen to me. And it's not her fault that this woman who owns the agency is a bit of an idiot and a scam artist, you know? Like, I'm the one that has I felt like I was the one that had the responsibility to just carry through with the job. And I knew in my head at that point, I was like, I'm not going to get paid for this. I'm going to be out of pocket. But I couldn't say no. It's on this woman's wedding day. I couldn't let her down. So I arrive. The woman was picky as ever. And obviously I had to deal with it. I was just smiling my way through it like, this is fine. Everything's great. Congratulations. Also, I can't wait to get out of here. So I did her makeup. I did her hair. I turned up early to make sure we had extra time, but I got it done and she was happy with it. And her mother-in-law came in. She's like, oh, aren't you beautiful? And she was so happy. So happy. So, I forgot to do mascara. One sec. Okay, did my mascara. I'm back. So I finished the woman's makeup. She looked great. And everything was fine. And she goes off to her wedding, okay? So I look at my phone and there's no message from May. There's no message. I checked my bank account. She hasn't sent me any money, unsurprisingly. But, you know, I was annoyed at this point and I just thought, okay, what I'm going to do, I've got to wait around a few hours before I can meet the bride at the other venue to do her hair for her after party. So I just got myself to the area where I need to wait, and I had to wait around for about, I think it was 3 or so hours. It was really long. And originally May had said, oh, you know, I'll come with you and I'll take you for lunch and I'll pay for everything. So I'm sitting there in Nando's by myself, like, May. I was so irritated. But obviously, you know, there's also part of me that was thinking, there is a chance that May is ill. I know it sounds really gullible of me, but what if she is really ill? What if she actually does have an ongoing condition? What if she is just a bit forgetful and she's in hospital and she hasn't looked at her phone and she's taking care of her health right now, and maybe she's completely forgot that she was meant to send me this money, even though I'd reminded her this very morning and said that I needed it. But I looked at my phone, there was no reply, no nothing, okay? So then, obviously I just waited around, had some lunch, then I went and did this woman's hairstyle. I'd paid for an Uber to get to this hotel. Oh my God, it was such a stress. And then she showed up late, I did her hair, but it was done, finished. So that's the important part. And then I left, looked at my phone, still no message from May. Where is May? So I went home, I was annoyed. My girlfriend was like, told you so. And I'm like, but obviously she understood, you know, I couldn't leave this girl. It was her wedding day, couldn't do that. You know, the girl was happy. I'd done everything she asked. My part here was done. Now my beef was with May, okay? So I think it was like the next day and I'd gotten a message from May and she'd said, hey, how did the wedding go in the end? After ignoring my other message, being like, I really need that payment. Have you sent it through? And I said, oh, it went really well. It was fine. She was like super happy. We got her done on time. You know, everything's great. Okay. And she was like, oh, that's funny because she complained. Right. And I'm like, what do you mean she complained? Like, she was so happy. Like, you know, her husband saw her hair afterwards and he was like, oh my God, you look beautiful. She was so happy. She was getting me to take pictures of her. Like, she was ecstatic. And even though she was late, I got her ready on time. Like, she loved it. Right. And she's like, no, she's complained. I'm like, okay, well, can you be more specific? Like, what was the complaint about? And she wouldn't say. And then I said, okay, May, well, I'm just going to send her a message and just, you know, try and smooth things over with her, you know, and make sure she's happy. And she's like, no, don't do that. That'll be very unprofessional, she said. So I just said, okay, well, May, like, I did the job. Maybe she complained, but you knew before. I told you this is a very picky client. So maybe she did complain. I don't know. But to me, to my face, when I asked her if she was happy and she wanted any changes, she said no. And she was smiling. So, you know, I did my job. I've held up my side of the bargain. Now I need all of my expenses that you promised you were going to pay me. And I need to be paid at least for the trial, you know. And these 2 other jobs I've done for you that I haven't been paid for. Where's the money, May? May. So then she gets back to me and she says, oh, because of the complaint, I'm not gonna pay you, basically. So we all knew this was coming, right? We all knew this was coming. She said she wasn't gonna pay me. And then she's like, I'm very ill right now. I can't deal with this stress. And then she turns her phone off. May just turns off her phone. So I'm irritated, I'm angry, I'm upset. She's tried to like basically slander me and say I did a bad job, and like I know she made it up, okay? I mean, maybe this woman did complain because she's a complainy type, but you know, I knew that I'd done my job. Now she needs to pay me, okay? Especially because now I'm out of pocket, very out of pocket, and I just didn't have time for it. I was annoyed, I was pissed off with this woman. I knew she was a scam artist by this point, and I just wanted some payment. So anyway, I waited, maybe like a day and a half, didn't hear anything. And then my girlfriend had a really clever idea. She basically went onto May's website, okay, and her website was, she hadn't done the advertising for it at the moment, I think. Like, I think it was like under construction or something. But if you knew the URL, you could type it in and there was like a questions box. You could do an inquiry. So my girlfriend was like, hey, it's Emma, made up a different name and said, oh, I want to have a wedding. I'm going to have 6 bridesmaids. It's going to be in Chelsea, can you give me a quote? Because she thought, hey, May can't resist money. If there's anything we know about a scammer, they can't resist money. And obviously May saw this message, and I think she knew something was up. Because I think what we didn't know, obviously it was a very clever idea, but what we didn't know is that because her website was under construction, I don't think you could see it easily. Like if you Googled wedding makeup London, it wouldn't come up. So she knew something was strange, okay? So she put the number that had been given, because my girlfriend put her number there because she thought, oh, when she calls to give me a quote, I'll be like, hey May, here's Hayley. Where's Hayley's money? And that was the plan. But obviously, because the number was there, May put the number into WhatsApp because she was a bit suspicious at this point. And she could see that it was my girlfriend because she'd seen pictures of me and my girlfriend on Instagram. She'd kind of like talked to me about my girlfriend before and asked me loads of inappropriate questions about being a lesbian. So she knew what my girlfriend looked like. And yeah, so she'd sent me this message. I've got them on Facebook. I feel to almost put them into this video, but it might be a bit too much. But she basically sent me these messages and she's like, oh my God, you're so unprofessional. I can't believe you've done this. Like, so she's basically flipping and saying that because I've lied and gotten my girlfriend to send this message, or I've sent this message, you know, that I'm being like deceitful or whatever. And I'm like, everything I actually read back the messages like a couple of days ago, and I'm like, everything I said to her was actually very polite considering the circumstances. And I basically said, listen, you haven't paid me for 3 jobs now. I'm out of pocket. I need this money. Send me my money. And then she just went off and on and on and on. And she was basically saying, I'm not giving you anything. You've been unprofessional. You had a complaint from the client. You've been unprofessional. And now you're trying to like trick me. Oh, May. Stupid May. So my last message, I could tell I was annoyed AF because I was like, fine, don't give me anything. Just, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was basically like, keep your money, basically. I know that I did a good job. And, you know, if this is how you want to end things, that's your own problem, basically. And that was the end of May. May was a crap month. Yeah, so that's how it ended. In hindsight, if this was me now, there is no way I'd be dealing with that. There is no way I would go to a job without a deposit. There is no way I would do another job for her if she hadn't paid me. There is no way I would have taken on this job with the very rude bride. I would have just been like, if you don't pay me for it, it's your issue. But, you know, at the time, I was desperate for money. I was easily led. I was gullible AF, and I really needed the money at the end of the day. So yeah, I did what I did. And, you know, I was still there. I still did the girl's makeup for her wedding. I just couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't be mean to her, even though she was kind of mean. But yeah, anyway, so, but if anything, I feel like this has taught me a lot. I'm not going to be scammed again. It's not happening. Oh, no, no. There'll be no more Mays. Definitely not. So to all the makeup artists out there, if you get a message from someone whose name rhymes with May, and they tell you that they have a business and they need you to go and do wedding makeup or event makeup or anything like that, just say no, okay? Just say no. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. Feel free to make fun of me and tell me how gullible I am. I know. I know I've been taken advantage of here. Yeah, let me know what you thought of the video in the comment section below. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this as well, because I really enjoyed doing this. I've got lots more story times, lots more messed up situations to tell you guys about. So if you guys enjoyed it, just let me know. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.